How is everyone doing this morning? I am going to get my microphone over here for my YouTube channel. And today, in the motivational talk, I'm going to talk about some really vulnerable things. And I'm sharing myself and my life in hopes of connecting with those that resonate with what I've experienced so that maybe I can be a support and a motivation for others if they're feeling, guided to um, by anything that I say. So, good morning. This is Lydia with the Avanti Wellness podcast and YouTube channel. And I'm on YouTube over here, Facebook motivational group, and Facebook Avanti Wellness page. And here I'm doing a live on Instagram. I've just found that it's easier to have y'all going at the same time instead of doing separate lives. Plus, I take this audio that I create and I upload it to my podcast channel. So it goes out on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Google, all the places, all the feels, so that I can reach as many people as that are meant to find these messages of motivation, and that's what I'm hoping to provide. So today I want to talk about everybody that I'm watching on social media that's focusing on health focuses so much on the physical, and that's so important. I mean, I'm totally there with all of them. However, I want to highlight the importance of the inner work, the the mental aspect of the journey to health and wellness, and how I've said in previous videos that my personal belief is that 80% of this journey to wellness is in your head. It's in between your head and your heart. That's where the real work has to be done in order to have the body live in a more homeostasis environment, because we all know, and I'm learning from my tracking on my lumen, how much stress causes the body to have a response when they track the when we track the CO2 levels. It can tell us when we're producing more CO2. It can say that our body's in more of a stressful environment. So like, even if you didn't even eat any carbs and you did it and you were high carb burning or high CO2 reading, it'll register as high carb burning. So a lot of times people are like, how come I'm not burning fat? And that ends up being the reason, because maybe they're going through something stressful and they have a reading like that. So I always take my supplements in the morning before I do these, and then I always end up like hiccuping. So please excuse me. Apologize. Plus, I'm drinking, so that has something to do with it. Okay, so today's conversation is on the importance of the inner work that is needed in our lives. And for those of you who actually have listened to my episode 1 of my podcast, you'll learn that, I experienced a great tragedy fairly young in life. I was just finished college, had literally just moved home. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, like 4 or 5 days from having moved home from my university living experience, and I'd moved back home with my parents. And my eldest sister and I, she was 9 years older than me, we were going to dinner, and she wanted to stop and look at the sunset off of a parking garage building. And she basically was um, she basically created an accident with, and what I found out later or realized later just from my own assumptions, that it was intentional. And she fell off of the building and died. And that was a very challenging time in my life that had me question my life and question whether I wanted to live any longer. And so that I was about 21, 22. That set me on a journey to find like my meaning of life. Like, what was my life about? What was my purpose? What was I supposed to do? And so, um, my other sister's calling me right now. So basically, um, that was just put my world in a tailspin. I had some dreams. I was heading somewhere. I was going back to live in Italy. That was my goal and my intention when I graduated from college. So I had just achieved graduating from college and I was heading back to Italy where I had lived the year before. And I was going to go back and have fun and play with my friends at 22, 23, 24 years old. Instead, I went into a deep dive of depression and started to try to uncover what was important for me to experience in this lifetime. Subsequently, that just set me on a journey of self discovery. I think one of the first books I read, by the way, I was in therapy. So I went to therapy after this, situation happened with my sister and, really tried to manage the experience in my life. And um, I think one of the first books that I read was The Dance of Anger, and this was like in 1993, and was important for me to recognize that I had a lot of anger for what had happened in my life experience, but it also opened up a can of worms that there were issues that weren't ideal even before before my sister did what she did. So it really got me onto a path of self development and discovery about who I really was and what was really important in my lifetime. So, subsequently, when you start digging and become more aware and awakened to what maybe isn't working in your life, it causes you to have a lot of uncomfortable feelings. So, I went through literally, I would probably say, a decade of workshops and transformations and choices that had me doing other things. And anyway, um, just I've spent a lot of time. Okay, do I feel like I'm ever going to be done with that? No, absolutely not. I am aware that my whole life I will always be discovering aspects of myself. And I'm so sorry, but my dog, I'm gonna run. I gotta go get my dog off of her bed. Hold on a second. She's crying. Here we come. All right. Here's the culprit. This is the culprit who just had me interrupt my. You don't want to be on the spotlight? She just woke up. I try to get these done before she wakes up because then I got to take care of her, get her a walk and everything. So back to, I will forever be growing and evolving and working on myself. So that is not going to change. So I just want to share that one of the things that became very apparent in my life for me to work on was my relationship with my father. One of the things that was really odd and uncomfortable for me is as I gained weight in my life, it made my father more uncomfortable around me. And he treated me different, and I felt it, and it was hurtful. And I couldn't imagine and understand how a father could be so like judgmental without even understanding that clearly this was an outward sign of an inner battle that I was, waging with myself. And for any fathers or mothers out there who are rough on their children who are gaining weight, really what that child needs is your love, acceptance, embrace, and understanding so that they can find the love, acceptance, and embrace themselves to make changes that are best for them. So subsequently, my father became, as long as I was overweight and obese, my father became a big part of my healing journey for me because I had to learn how to, I still wanted to be a good daughter, but I wasn't given like the father relationship that I desired. And so I had to rise above that of who he was being and find the love for him in spite of how I was feeling from his actions and his way of treating me. So I've been going through a box, what do you call it? Like a keepsakes box. And I found this. It's actually, I created like a big magnet on a piece of paper and I saved it. And I actually wrote the date on it. And it was October of 2000. It's down here, right there, October 2000. And what I did was I wrote like a poem and a script, almost like a script of forgiveness in my heart, and I wrote it down. It was my birthday is in October and his birthday was in October, so I probably gave this to him for his birthday. But, 2000 was 9 years after my sister's death. And, I had already done a lot of work around that. Um, of course, now looking back, I've had future decades. My dad lived till 93, and I was like 50 when he passed away. And so I had, 50 years with him and healing, growing, me evolving, him evolving in his own way, and us trying to navigate this life together. So, anyway, I'm going to share for you this poem that I wrote. And really, what I want to share is if you have anybody in your life who's causing you strife or stress, and you want them in your life, because you don't want to like neglect your parents, but if they're not living to the expectations that you desire that feels healthy and maybe toxic for you, it's really like an inner work, an inner job that you can do on yourself to help transform and transmute whatever it is that you're experiencing and feeling. So apparently by October 2000, I had come to a real place of forgiveness for my father. And I actually found it within me to focus on the things that he did right, all the things that I appreciated about him. I wasn't going to focus on the things that he was lacking or the things that were hurtful. I wanted to focus on the things that were working. So, by the way, in 1998, I started like a little hair clip company, and my nickname became Butterflydia. Lydia, Lydia, and then the word butterfly. The FLY of fly is part of the name Lydia, so it's Butterflydia. And I became that nickname when I was going through a major physical transformation. I was quitting smoking. I was working on myself on all this stuff. And I really was doing a lot of inner work. And I just saw like Lydia was becoming a new thing. I still had the inner workings of the caterpillar, but that I was going to emerge the butterfly and have my wings for freedom of self, freedom of my inner self. That's what the representation of the name means. So, the title of the script that I'm about to share that I wrote for my father is called The Butterfly's Father. So, it says, and again, I'll just do a quick show you. I'll try not to make it long. When I was a young child, you watched over me. You made sure I had a safe house to live in. You worked so that mom could be at home when I returned from school. You drove us to church each Sunday as a family. You sacrificed your own needs so that I could have more in my future. You prided yourself in providing me with a good education. You went to work each day and came home every night. You disciplined us when you thought we needed it. You taught me how to value simple things. You fixed things as they broke. You spent time teaching me poems that would teach me lessons in life. You took pride in having a family stay together. You were there for us when we needed you. You responded when we called. You held a sense of responsibility and integrity that made me proud. You allowed yourself to laugh when you could. You taught me independence and self-reliance. You let me go when I needed to. Dad, you may not know that I understand and appreciate these things in you, so I thought I'd make you a special script so that you can read it over and over when you feel in doubt of my love. There are many different types of fathers out there in the world, and I am grateful for all I have experienced with you. The man that gave me the experiences to be who I am today. A wise, compassionate, loving, gentle, giving, sensitive, open woman. I love and appreciate you, Dad. Lydia, Butterflydia, October 2000. So, where I was coming from for that gift that I gave to him was that all the pain that I had experienced up until that point and all the good that I had experienced, it was all a combination of a recipe that helped me develop who I was and who I was to become. And I found an opportunity to feel grateful for the good and the bad. Because when I had the pain that was provided, it caused me, when I had the judgment from him, it caused me to be more sensitive. It caused me to be more open. It caused me to be more giving as a human being because I was on the recipient side of the opposite. So I became grateful for the lessons. I became grateful for the experiences, even though they were painful. I found gratitude in those experiences. And I just share that because we can't control other people. We can't control how they make us feel. We can't control their actions. However, we can control how we respond to it. We can control how we want to feel about it. We can control how we let it affect our lives. And that's where I want people to understand they have the power to transform their feelings into a reality that suits them best. So if there's anyone out there that you have hurt or pain or non-forgiveness, just know that you don't forgive them for them. You learn to forgive them so that you can be free, so that you can find joy again in your life, in spite of the hurt and the pain that the people in your life may have caused you. I also want to recommend a book. It was a book that changed my life, and it's changed many people's lives. It helped me to come to the point where I could feel this and feel this authentically, feel these feelings authentically. They weren't just words, they were my truth, and they lived as truth inside my heart. And I got to live with those feelings instead of the alternative feelings that I had been experiencing. And the book is called The Seed of the Soul by Gary Zukav. I'll go find a link to it on Amazon, and I'll put a link in my description. But it was a book that changed my life. And it's literally something I called like my Bible now. It is deep, and it may not be for everybody, and that's okay. Because if it's meant for you, if it's meant for you, you'll know it and you'll understand it, and it'll speak to you. This past 2020, he actually wrote a new book. It's really long. It's called The Universal Human. Gary Zukav wrote it. And basically, I feel like it's like a level up from the seed of the soul. So it's like stair-stepping your personal evolution. And Gary's providing like this pathway. So it's pretty amazing. I listened to it on Audible. I don't have the paperback, but I listened to it like last year. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up. All I want to share about this topic is that the inner work, the personal work, the self-development can be even more powerful in your journey to wellness than just eating the right things and doing exercise. Because there's a lot of fit, skinny people out there who are sick and unhealthy. And sometimes the inner work can cleanse and clean out energetically and mentally the things that you need to excavate in order to have a life full of and with more joy, which is what we're all really looking for here in this lifetime. So I wish you all the best, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye.